carefully pronounce the R. Okay, and I want you to be safe and comfortable. Whichever your dominant hand is, I want you to take that stick, I want you to take your dominant hand and put it at a spot on the stick where it feels like that's the control point for balance. Can I borrow this one? Right back. If you have one of the round waxwood ones, you have one end has Japanese characters on the end. That's the end that you're supposed to be using for a handle. You have your hands on the tape. That was actually to help keep it from splintering. And I know that's probably the lighter end, or the heavier end, and it's our human nature. We want the heavy end on the end so we can go wham! Because you get extra bonus points for distance. But for samurai swordsmanship, you're going to hold the slightly heavier end because it's a little bit more size and shape of a handle. So dominant hand up from the end, and then take your secondary hand, put it on the bottom of the stick. It should be separated from your top hand by 2 or 3 fingers width. Okay, don't put your hands together. If you see a poster of a ninja movie or a samurai movie, and there's some guy standing there going, whoa, like this, that's not because it's correct technique. It's because the person holding the weapon is an actor. Okay? Japanese swordsmanship did not have the hands together, whether at the top of the tsuka or at the bottom. Different than baseball. They separated their hands. It gave them push-pull dynamics, and it also gave them more control over the weapon, so when they swung, they could stop when they needed to. If you're holding the lighter end with the heavy end out and your hands are together, it's going to have a tendency to go farther than you want it to. And that's bad when we're doing promise level sparring and you get to block and go, blah! And then take home the souvenir. Okay, so hands separated. We're going to face this way. We're going to do a walking and chewing gum exercise. If you can do both of these things at the same time, swordsmanship is for you. If you can't step and swing the sword at the same time, advanced samurai combat is probably not for you. So we're going to face this way. Sword pointed in front of you. I want you to take your right leg. That's whether you're right-handed or left-handed. Take your right leg, put it in front. If you are dyslexic, that's the one on this side of the room. If you are not dyslexic, that's the one on this side of the room. Okay, right foot in front. I'm going to count. We're an anime con. I'm going to do this in Japanese. But I'm going to count. You're going to bring the sword up over your head. Step forwards with your back foot. Reach out and cut right down the middle. All the way down. If you take Aikido, if you do Aikiken, which is their swordsmanship, their shogunukes, their straight cut stops about midsection height because they're teaching hand positions for some of their throws, and that's where their hands stop. That's not how you cut with a sword. If the zombie apocalypse does break out, and they're coming at you, you don't want to go, wah, and cut to right here and get the sword stuck in his pelvic girdle. Because while you're going, it's stuck, the other 45 eat your brains. Okay, so cut all the way through. Keep your head up though, okay? If you look at the floor, that's what you're going to hit. It's kind of like driver's ed, when the instructor tells you, don't stare at oncoming traffic. Why? Because you drift towards them? Okay, so keep your head up. We're going to step forwards, reach out, cut right down the middle. You're cutting an imaginary foe. Well, if you're in the back row, you actually have a line of targets in front of you. Right down the middle. We're going to go forwards 2 steps, and then we're going to take 2 steps backwards, but we're still going to count. We'll get there. Ready? Coming forwards. Reach out and cut down. When you bring the sword back, please don't bring it back so far you hit yourself in the back. If you do kendo, sometimes they do that with that lightweight shinai. But with a real sword, the kasaki, the tip, sharpest part of the blade, and if you bring it back and smack yourself in the butt, you're going to find yourself with 2 holes. And we don't need a secondary vent. Coming forwards, ready? Each, up, step, and cut down. We're going to do it again. Knee, step, forwards, and cut down. Now we're going to go backwards. I heard a stick hit the floor. But as long as it wasn't echoing off somebody's skull, we're good. Alright, we're going to step backwards now. Do not lean back when you step. We're not going like this and cutting. If you put your weight on your back leg, that is the sword equivalent of going, no, quit it, stop! Okay? Stepping backwards while we cut is about being able to deliver a full power strike. Because if I'm standing right here, it's a metal cap on the bottom of the handle of a sword. It's called a kashira. There's a reason for it. It's for close quarters, so I can go BAM! And smash him in the mouth. Because that's cool. But if I take a step back, BAM! I'm hitting him with this part of the blade, and that's cooler yet. Okay, for our children's class, we call this the bad dog defense. Bad dog's coming in, and you step back and say, no, whack! And that's positive reinforcement. For some children, too.
Oh, awesome. Just tried it.
Ready?
Awesome.
Stop! Step back and cut down. Once more. She! Step back and cut down. Come on! That means point your sword menacingly at the IT guys. Actually, it means return to your starting position. And this is where we started. We're going to do it again. I want you to be mean. I want you to be vicious. I want you to get people's attention, so we're going to add to it. We're going to yell. In Japanese martial arts, it's called a kiai. And there are 3 different ways to do this. The first way is you yell first. It's designed to freeze your opponent just momentarily so you can cut them down. Ah! We don't do that one at anime conventions because it frequently leads to the other person going, ah! So they're both in running. And we have more injuries from Mokins flying through the air than we do from action. Anyway. Second way to kiai is afterwards. You step forwards, you cut them down, and then you give this fierce shout to release all of the toxins and the pent-up violence and aggression that's still in your body. So, wah! Discount double check. I mean, but it seems a little bit like gloating, so we don't do that one either. We do the third version, and this is where we yell at the same time we cut. This is designed to unify mind, body, and spirit so that everything you have is going into this life-changing, or ending, depending on which end of the sword you're at, cut. That's the one we're going to do. So on each, you're going to step forwards, and I want you to yell, A! Conveniently enough, even in Missouri, that's the first letter of the alphabet. So you should have gotten that. First one, A. Second one, Ya. I know that's not the second letter of the alphabet, but I can come up with these. Mine would have been alphabetical. So stepping forwards, we're going to go A, Ya. Going backwards, same thing. A, Ya. As loud as you can, because number 1, you're supposed to. Number 2, I want everybody outside to realize they're missing the fun. And when they come in, you can scare them. We have hotel staff. They can clean up wet spots on the floor. Coming forwards. Ready? Big yells. If we do a good job on this, I'll let you hit each other next. Coming forwards. Ready? Each. A. A. Second time. Ya. Ready? E. Ya. Backwards. San. A. She. Ya. Good. Louder. You guys. I'm not trying to be mean, but this is the quietest AnimeCon group we've ever done a sword class for. And I love teaching at AnimeCons because running a full-time school, I get serious students. I'm here for the history.